What's up, guys? This is Rasco from Teamwinged, and today I'm coming at you with my Amorphage deck profile. This deck is, I'll say it's super slow, because there's honestly no cards that allows you to dig through your deck unless your monsters are destroyed, and they're all about, like, buffing their attack, so there's really no consistency, so I'm going to say it right off, I do play triple reload and one upstart, just to have more draw power in my deck, and this is always a +1, so it's super good in the deck. So I'll just get straight into it without further ado. So I play, for my 2-ofs, I play 2 of the Goliath. Goliath is okay, but the main reason I only play 2 of it is because if you want to summon him, he has to be tribute summoned. I mean, which is pretty bad in this deck because you want to have enough monsters on the field to keep your scales alive. And then you can pendulum them back, and these guys can't even be pendulum back when they're destroyed, so that's why you only play 2 of them. And he's actually pretty good because he's like a built-in Dark Law. Any card sent to the graveyard banished instead, so that works on your monster, sadly. If it was like except Amorphages, that'd be a different story. But anyway, he's a good 2 of, and 2 Sloth. He is really good because your player can add cards for a deck. It's like sec by drawing them, so he's built-in Mistake. Same reason you have to tribute them. For Goliath, you have to tribute 2, but for Sloth, you have to tribute 1. So I could see people bumping it up to 3, and his effect is actually pretty good. He's like Thunder King Ryo, Mistake all in one. And he has a pretty beefy attack with all your like pluses. And you play Triple Pride. Pride's really good. Your player takes effect damage. That's not really the reason you play him. He's a pendulum summonable monster with a 1750 attack. And, I mean, there's not much to say about that. He's probably one of your biggest monsters. Yeah, so he's pretty good. Him and Lechery are really good. And, basically, and I forgot to tell you, if they're in the pendulum scale, for each scale you have, so it's a total of 2 at all times, you have to tribute 1 amorphage monster, not amorphage monster. Basically, you have to tribute a card during your standby phase, or they're destroyed, which is actually good in some certain situations. If you have no cards on the field and a 3 and 5 in hand, and you can just let your own scales be popped, and then pendulum summon out everything you have, and then just lock down your opponent. So it's a pretty good play. So anyway, triple him. Triple Olga, he is fantastic for the Monarchs. Your player can tribute summon monsters, which is really good. All of these you have to control an Amorphage, which is not really hard to do, except for like when you're starting out early. When you start out early, you're in a pretty bad situation, but if you can get to the point where you dwindle down your resources and you can start getting yourself out consistently and easily, then you're in a good situation. So triple Olga, and you gotta play triple Cavum. Oh yeah, Olga's good because he's 1650. Not as good as Hyper, but well, and their names are Wrath and Pride in English. So you also play triple Cavum or Envy. It's a really good card because it's got a big booty. Its defense is 2050 and usually gets pumped up with all your stuff. So it's a really awesome card. And your opponent can activate cards or effects as chain link 2 or higher. So you can chain 1, and then they can't activate any more chains. Like I've had a game where someone could have gone like chain 4 or 5. I talked to him afterwards. It was on YG Pro, and he was like, "Yeah, I could have went 4 or 5, but that stopped him right in his tracks." So really good card. Triple Greed or Plus. He's not bad. No card effects, basically. No, not card effects. Trap effects can be activated. I mean, it's not bad. Traps are just negated when he's in there. And he's got a pretty big booty of 1950. Now for the cards you really can't pendulum summon one-time uses. You won't keep these guys in your scales. Your player can activate cards, except for amorphages, which is really, really, really good. It's just, spells are crazy. Negates pendulum scales, so that's super good. And it's has a pretty nice attack of 1350, and you can't pendulum something back. That was the only issue with it. You also play triple caster or gluttony. It's it's meh. Monsters can activate their effects. This doesn't come in too much, but when it does, it usually saves me in the game. So it's a really good card, and it's 2, so it cannot be pendulum summoned back, so you have to take these 3 wisely. I saw on, what's his name? I saw on Team Samurai X1's vid, shouts to him. DDD Dave was playing Jargetto, and I never even thought of this. He's just an easy special summoner. You can special summon it, give 1,000 life points. If it stays on the field, you can use it as tribute fodder, or you can tribute it, and a monster you control gains 1,000 attack. So that's actually really good. Really good for this deck, being able to have more cards to tribute. So you play 2 of him. And I play 1 Amorphage Pain, the Imagination Drake Overlord. He's really good. You have to ritual summon with Amorphage Persona, which is their field spell, and it's not bad. When it's ritual summon, your opponent skips their next main phase 1, which is just, it's ridiculous. If you can get it on the field, let's say first turn, that just screwed all their plays up until that. They couldn't attack or OTK. It helped you stall. And negate the effects of face up any extra deck monsters around there on the field. That's just crazy. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, add 1 Drake Overlord from your deck to your hand, except himself, which I don't use because I don't play any Drake Overlords. I just think the pure version is more consistent, so I only play 1 of him. Triple Ignite Reload, just shuffle cards back into the deck, draw as many as you shuffled, and plus 1 more. So it's always going positive when you're using him or staying sane. And you got Triple Infection. It's not a bad card. They gain 100 attack and defense for each Amorphage on the field. So you could actually have like a lot of damage on the board because you got the spells and traps. And like, let's say if you had a loaded back row and loaded monster field and 2 pendulum scales, you could get up to 1,200 on each monster. So it's kind of crazy. And if a monster you control is distributed or destroyed by battle, you can add a Amorphage from your deck to your hand, and it's only once per turn, but still really good, just adding consistency. But the crap part is it has to be destroyed. There's no other way to get it by summoning. Your spell cards, super good. They gain 300, and up to twice per turn if a Amorphage monster you control is distributed, draw a card, so it's a pretty good card. If you have like 2 scales up, you can draw 2 more. And you can banish this card from your graveyard and tribute pendulum monsters from your hand, whose exact level equals 8, and then ritual summon the Amorphage, which is pretty good. For consistency, 1 upstart and 1 MST just for 1 of none. Triple Lysis, that's a pretty good card. All monsters on the field except Amorphages lose 100 for each Amorphage on the field. And if a card in your pendulum zone is destroyed except during damage step, you can place 1 pendulum monster from your deck to your pendulum zone immediately. You can only use it once per turn, but it's super good. And then the once on warning. You don't play any extra deck because these are all floodgate monsters. I want to say they're relatively cheap. This guy is super rare. This guy is secret. This guy is, I think he is ultra rare. This card's ultra rare, which is like meh. Supers, ultras. But of course, they're all really cheap. This guy's rare. They're all really cheap because Amorphage is actually really inconsistent, and I can see why people aren't making this meta. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Amorphages are actually really fun, but I don't see them ever being competitive unless I get a huge consistency booster, which then I can definitely see it because they're all built-in floodgates, and they stop your opponent from doing everything. And it even locks them out of the extra deck. All monsters have that effect, so it's actually a really good deck. Not consistent, but super fun. If you have any ideas to tell me on consistency, definitely leave a comment down below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Peace out, guys.